In case anybody's here for the to be considered the HPC landmark nominations for downtown properties, Susan?
I know, just tell
I'll
me.
get to that.
Go ahead.
We're going to, we're tabling the HPC landmark nominations till April the 17th. So we go right to the administrator's report, if she's ready.
Yes, I am. And I was mentioning about financial disclosure statements, the lovely online form. Access begins on Thursday. There are no further extensions as there have been prior years. It must be filed by March 30th.
March
April 30th.
It's like we're all late.
If the state could, they'd go backwards. By April 30th, and what they have done, aside from threatening with fines and making me the bad guy to say you'll be fined, it's one of the best practices questions that the governing body had filed timely. So I'll be sending you reminders throughout the month, don't worry.
Yes.
We give them to you or do we file?
Lisette
No, you
will,
file it
No, it's
online.
filed online.
And then, but I have access and I'll see who.
Arson, you're on, right?
Okay.
So Lisette is very good at harassing you if you don't follow through on this, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna
If
confirm
you want to be harassed, don't follow through.
Okay.
Yes, for first timers, you need a special PIN to log in, but once you're established, everything carries over and go to the process. The Bergen County Open Space Grants have opened, but we have to submit a letter of intent. And in submitting a letter of intent, we have to designate a project.
So I have a question that's not on this list.
Yeah, that.
I want to talk about the pool club
Go
property.
ahead.
So I would like to see this project be our project because it's going to require so much renovation and excavation of the pool site. I think this is the appropriate project for Bergen County Open Space funds.
Well, we
can afford to do it
already
ourselves.
have these projects, Sunnyside Park, for example, Roosevelt Commons. We already have engineering, it's all done on these projects. It's not likely that we could get something up for the swim club
24th.
parking, swim club in time to meet the
I
deadline.
didn't realize these had already been.
Can we discuss for a second, because we get in spring down, we're gonna do this. We didn't discuss that.
No. These are options.
I understand, but we never discussed as a council that those are the projects we wanted, engineering was done, all the stuff.
No,
Nobody
engineering has
discussed with
not
us.
been done. The engineer.
Just-
Well, no,
just-
What the engineer has said is, since these projects have come up over the course of time, this is what they estimate,
Right.
which would include engineering in this amount, but you have to put a project estimate in your application, and as part of the application, you have to commit to funding 50% of it in next year's budget.
But
Which we did.
No.
No.
We didn't do any of
Didn't
it. We didn't do
we,
any of it.
you said we have to
No,
But
so
commit.
this is
a
the
different
playground, this is
side.
the actual field.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is
we
to-
didn't do
Playground
any of
for
this.
field
No,
are
this
two
is-
different.
No, this is all brand
Field is
new.
one that's-
This,
This
we
is
didn't
what
do
would
it,
you
and that's why
like-
I'm saying, all of a sudden, there are three projects.
Yeah, these are recommendations.
But-
What would you like to put in the application?
Exactly, but that's where Lauren said, we would like to look at the existing pool to make it a.
The only issue is, we were notified Tuesday, applications will be accepted, but you have to let them know by April 24th what you want to do, including what the amount of the project is.
We can get an estimate
Do
on
we,
that one.
do we have any sort of a description of the Sunnyside Park field
It would
project?
just be upgrading the drainage and installing turf.
So would
Turf.
so it's
No.
another turf field, since
No.
we just did
No.
mini
We're
field.
not installing,
No,
we're not installing turf at Sunnyside.
That's just the
that
recommendation,
makes
goes with the
absolute-
messenger.
no, exactly,
That makes absolutely no sense at all.
yeah.
You're not gonna install turf at Sunnyside for $750,000. There's too much, there's too much groundwork that
Right.
subsurface groundwork. That makes no sense at all. I believe that project is more about drainage and more about accessibility for the playground, upgrading the playground.
Isn't that a separate, the
the
playground?
playground
We
is
already
separate.
did the playground as part of the existing capital budget.
That's in our budget this year, Mayor, and that's separate than this, which is
Playground
just
and
the
the
field.
walkway.
Yeah, and I was thinking that one of the projects should be the pool, we should put in the pool, and another one should be what we call the adult park for exercise. that we
Where's that
will-
gonna be?
Well, so
we said we're gonna look at around
outdoor
Sunnyside.
fitness.
You know, those are gonna be things that we discussed.
Oh, the outdoor
Fitness.
fitness
Yes.
equipment?
I thought that was gonna go
But
with
you-
pool club fitness.
No.
No, you
You
can't.
have to have a
Decide
site,
where it's
as
gonna
part,
go.
you have to know what the site is.
But that's what
for
we
that.
really need, rather than putting in something so we just ask for it. I mean, we need to put that in.
I think the pool club, if we can actually get that in time, if we can get anything
Yeah.
in
Who came up with these three options?
DPW and the engineer, that these were in discussions.
I know
prior to-
we've discussed, I know Roosevelt Commons and Sunnyside Park. I don't recall any discussions about Walnut Park Field to the point where we would make this one of our projects.
I mean, Walnut needs it. It
Well,
definitely could use.
Because we've been going through park
three
from
of these
park to
actually
park to
good.
upgrade the
Yeah, but
playground
we-
to make it ADA
All right, so
accessible.
you know what, let's,
No, he's a great.
let's, Lauren is the liaison with Recreation. I want to put together a meeting with her, myself, Jamie, Lauren, this will be, Lisette will put this
Okay.
together. Jamie and Carl Rossi and the borough engineer and yourself to discuss these three issues so that on the, do we have the ability to make some decisions on the 17th and have time to make this application by the 24th?
I'll find out. I don't know how extensive the letter of intent is.
Well, who would know?
Kelsey at Mazer, she's our
Mazer.
grant writer.
All right, so would you speak to her tomorrow and ask her if that time frame works, and then see if we can get this meeting as I described for sometime next week?
Yeah, that, because that's, we never discussed it, those things just pop out. Whoa,
Number one makes a lot of sense though.
But no, number one is, but we just did Unifield this year.
Well, the other thing is, in discussing
get
the
a matching
projects, you have
grant.
to know that you have to have that 50% in the 2019.
that's why we need to put them all together.
That's a significant amount to put versus a $50,000 expenditure.
All right, so, okay.
Okay, anything else, Lisette?
So other than this, I was just contacted today by the Bergen County Clerk, John Hogan's office, and what they've been doing is going around the county, municipality to municipality, as they've gone through their vaults and their records, and they have found very historic documents of the borough, articles of incorporation and whatnot. So they will make a formal presentation at the May 1st work session, presented as a poster, and in about 10 minutes.
Okay,
It'll be on the May 1st.
well, we'll give them 11. Is that it, Lisette?
No, I have another question, Lizette.
Yes.
We were talking about doing the sealant for those streets that were not sealed, and a month ago we said, we should do it. Are we any place closer?
A sealant for the.
Yes, we were
Last
supposed,
phase of AGM,
The-
AGM.
The one that wasn't finished.
you remember
Oh, the
the,
sealant for the road.
yes,
It was determined that the sealant was not needed, so that money is being reappropriated for this
who
year's.
determined it was not needed? We said it was needed and we're gonna go with the
No, we
Bergen
didn't
Core.
we didn't say it was needed, we
No,
said
it
it
was
wasn't done.
It
Was
wasn't
not
done,
done.
it was an option, but the roads are.
It was an option that we committed to, put the money aside, we didn't get it done, so that money wasn't used, it's going back into our road program for this year.
No, what we
It's
said,
being appropriate.
no, what we said is the following thing, that the AJ whatever works did not do it, and we can do it cheaper by using the co-op, the Bergen Co-op. And because it's cheaper, and we're gonna go and do a contract with the Bergen Co-op to do the sealant.
No, that was to go through state contract, that was to use, asphalt paving systems, they're under state contract. But in order to, since the roads are holding up, the sealant was just an extra, it's not mandatory, it was not needed, and to help facilitate.
Who decided that the reason we want it is because we said it's needed because a road that has sealant lasts twice as long.
Well, what,
No, but we reappropriate those funds so that we can.
We reappropriate the funds to
all right,
use the Bergen
Lisette,
Co-op.
what we need is, Lisette, what we need is the engineer to give us a sense in his opinion as to whether, those roads should be sealed or we can use the money for something else.
They're reappropriated already.
Yeah.
Where
Those funds were already
where did we put it,
reappropriated.
Susan?
For this
Into the
year's
road
capital.
program
In
this
this
year?
year's capital plan, we reappropriated funds, but we wrote a separate ordinance and we pulled some pieces out of the capital plan to reappropriate. The ambulance and a truck were pulled out to reappropriate funds that were from completed projects. And that project was
It
completed.
was certified as completed.
The road paving.
Let's have the engineer let us know as to whether or not there's going to be any sort of impact on the fact that those roads weren't sealed. Okay?
Because this is a dichotomy. First, we said we need to seal it.
A what?
It's a dichotomy.
Okay.
You know,
Sure.
first they said we need to seal it, then basically the contractor says, oh, I cannot do it, I don't have time. Then they said, no problem, we're gonna use the Bergen Bergen Co-op because it's cheaper, and now we don't need it. Why did we need
All
it
right,
the
so
first one?
you know what? So
I'll get something from
Yeah.
them.
the council is concerned that there may be a problem with the fact that we didn't have those roads sealed. We want to know what his opinion is on it.
And the one final thing, the message board, there is a bit of a glitch. It's not taking our information that we're inputting wirelessly, so we're inputting the information offline while we find out what is causing the problem.
Well, it's under warranty, correct?
Yes,
So,
they're working on it, but if you drive by, like right now, it shows the March council meetings. And it shows the temperature, you see the Fahrenheit, but you don't see what the number is. It's because of that glitch, it's being worked out.
yeah, I meant to say the other day I saw something that was outdated on it.
Can I back up for a second to this open space grant? Because in your what is this document? The memorandum from Jewel and Andy in March 28th. It does talk about a cost estimate for Tenafly Swim Club as $350,000.
That's the parking lot.
That's just the parking lot.
That's just the
This
parking
parking
lot.
lot project.
And that's nothing else.
No, that's just
It's
the parking
currently
lot.
underway.
And we got the $294,000 quote from AJ Works, so we got about $56,000 we can
Okay.
still play with.
Okay.
Okay. Under correspondence, the first is a request from a company to do some filming up on Dogwood Lane.
So,
We've worked
no,
with...
but, so one of the moms in my school is going to be the Real Housewife,
Yeah, well,
the next
let's-
Real Housewife of New Jersey.
Let's
There
hope
you
that she
go.
has better luck than the last one from Tenafly.
I don't know, but we're not gonna give the permission unless Lauren can
But,
be part of it.
No,
What happened to the
no.
last one?
Lisette, we've had problems with this company before, but I think they've all been resolved.
I hope so. They've changed production assistants.
They changed the
It's
name.
basically, anybody that wants a film permit could ask for 4 times and I just process it. But because they are in constant need of filming, it comes to the point where I can't grant the blanket waiver unless you guys give me the okay, and
We did
then I'll
this
just
last year.
continue to do it.
Because
Then-
someone unparked,
then-
someone around last winter.
The next item is a letter from Mrs. Goldman.
Is she here?
I'm sorry?
Is she
No,
here? She
I don't
was
think so.
possibly
In
the
regards
last
to the intersection at Dean and East Clinton, I know Lauren responded to her, I also did. Basically, we've talked about this intersection for years, and the ironic part of the intersection, it's extremely ironic if you've ever sat and looked at it for a while, is that the history of it is not as bad as you would think it is. The amount of accidents that occur there are not as great as you would think. It's a relatively safe intersection that's very inconvenient to all of us that get that flashing red light, and especially if you're behind somebody that doesn't move. And also you see people go through the red light and people stop at the yellow light, but the intersection for the most part works. It's a tough situation because you have New Street coming out there. It's especially difficult at a pickup time for Mount Carmel, but it works. And
I'd like to respond to this.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to respond to what you're saying.
Okay.
I actually will strongly disagree that it works, and here's what I'm hearing from both the business side and the commuters, is that the actual intersection at Clinton Dean, well, number one, I think you're constantly playing chicken. I'm constantly not sure whether I go or the next person. But what's happening is that it's backing all the cars up on County, and all the commuters that are coming through to try to get through Englewood or up East Clinton are winding up getting literally parked through our town in a way in which that intersection is the impetus, I guess, that causes that traffic pattern. And people are looking for other ways, and they're coming through our side streets up through where I live.
Well, the
Magnolia
impetus-
and Engle.
The impetus is the light really at West Clinton and the railroad tracks. It's a tough situation
Yes.
caused not by the nature of the intersection, but by the sheer amount of traffic that tries to get through there during our rush hours. That's the real problem.
Well, I would like our council to decide whether we want to look at this again, because I find the intersection unsafe. I think it's, with New Street coming out instead of coming in, I think there's cars that don't have a good directional signal. I think the traffic light isn't doing enough as a blinking light.
New Street used to go the other way.
Used to-
It
I know,
was changed.
we discussed that.
And when the council can look at it until the cows come home. The police have looked at it numerous times, and there are no recommendations unless you want to take private property away from the funeral home and the Clinton Inn, realign the entire intersection, and there's no guarantee, because once again, no matter what you do, you have that intersection within 100 feet of the intersection with West Clinton, and you have too many cars coming through, not only north and south, but east and west.
Well, what I would like to do is actually incorporate the street before, which is Franklin, and have that be the right turn that goes then back, because Franklin can actually go on to, what is that street, Dean?
Franklin goes on to Westervelt, not
What's
D.
the one, what's the one that, is it George?
No, Franklin,
What's the one that's
Franklin
right
is,
across the street from Wilson?
Franklin is Franklin is parallel to the railroad tracks. It's the first
Right.
street. And
So go left
it's
onto
not
Westervelt.
wide enough to accept the traffic that's
residential
going to
street.
go down Franklin, make a left-hand turn onto Westervelt,
Right.
and a right-hand turn onto Dean. The intersection with Westervelt and Dean is bad enough with the minimal amount of traffic that it has, because Westervelt is a through street, goes all the way up to Knickerbocker.
Bill,
Well, I just don't think that doing nothing on this intersection is the right answer either. I do think that there's not a lot of traffic accidents because everyone is going through it like 2 or 3 miles an hour. Well, that's what it is. Everyone literally just stops. I mean, there's been numerous times I've been in the intersection, just stop, because I'm not sure what the other
I
car's
would
doing.
suggest before you go any
That's never safe.
further, have a meeting with Chief Chamberlain. Let him give you the history of all of the. I've been here 15 years. We've looked at that intersection at least a half a dozen times.
Can we all have this meeting, because I would like to hear that
Yeah.
too? Can he present it to the council?
Why don't we invite him in to
Yeah,
discuss this
and-
intersection?
But I mean,
Invite him, because that would be educational for me too.
And from what I understand, and I understand Christine Everett's here, sorry.
can we copy Leonia's ordinance? Keep only
No,
Tenafly
they're going to
residents.
seem left or right. But from what I understand, there has been a traffic study on this a couple years ago. And, I do believe that at some point Loretta Weinberg or our senator was involved in possibly looking at this as well on the county level.
why would she be involved in
It's a
it?
county road. It's a county intersection there.
She's not a county. She's not a county. She's a state senator.
Okay.
The
Well,
county,
then
the
maybe the
county,
county should
first
get
of all, the county will not make any changes on that intersection unless you bring it up to code. In order to bring it up to code, you have to take property away from the Clinton Inn and Barrett's Funeral Home, which is one of the main reasons we've never done anything, because we're not about to do that. And even if you even if you line that intersection up, it's not going to be aligned with West Clinton. It's not going to be aligned with County Road. The problem is too many cars. And when County Road backs up, it's not because of the blinking light, because the majority of the cars that come down County Road make the right onto Dean Drive, and they're not stopped or slowed down by that blinking red light. The problem is the light at West Clinton backs the traffic up past Hillside, and that's only because there's too many cars, and it's getting worse because every year there's more and more cars.
Well, then I do think that for
We
both
can
our
have
business.
we can have Chief Chamberlain come in.
Sure, but I do also would like to hear from the Chamber of Commerce on this, because
The Chamber of Commerce is not a traffic organization.
But what I'm
And you
hearing
know,
from
I
this-
understand they have your ear, but that doesn't give them any reason that they should come on now and they're gonna tell us how to handle our traffic?
Mayor, it's not just that I am the liaison to Chamber, but I have spoken with business owners in town. I have gone personally, door to door, and spoken, and they say, we can't get the traffic in that we need. People are not coming to our town, they're bypassing our town because of the lights, because of this intersection, and they don't feel like it is conducive to growing a business or to staying here in Tenafly. I've heard those concerns from business owners personally to my own ears. So it's not just that I've spoken with the Chamber of Commerce, but I've also spoken with individual businesses. They are concerned that if this continues to be the traffic pattern, we're losing businesses, and this is part of the reason why.
Every downtown is losing businesses. Englewood is losing businesses, Cresskill is losing businesses and getting them also. Bergenfield has had problems for years with businesses. You know, they're right. Our downtown is not conducive to a positive traffic flow.
But it-
We did a $28,000 traffic study about 6 or 7 years ago, and when they came in to make the presentation, and they told this body what it would cost to make changes, they threw that $28,000 study out the window before the guy even had a chance to sit down. You want to spend another $28,000 in doing it, it's fine, but, you know, there's some problems that are beyond our control, unfortunately. I'm not
I'd
suggesting...
like to see that study.
Yeah.
I don't know, let's not spend
There is
another,
nothing
let's go take a
wrong
look at that.
with both the chief and the Chamber of Commerce to come and present to us their studies. We can make a decision to ignore it from now on, and then basically make a much more informed decision. I have no idea about the study. I would like to know, so I can understand it. It's nothing wrong with them explaining to us.
Jeff?
I'd actually like to look at the problem in two distinct problems. One is the traffic flow. The other is having a bus stop right there by Barrett's that's letting people off. I know that there haven't been a lot of car accidents, but I do know a pedestrian was hit and killed walking across that from the bus stop. And maybe at the very least, the first thing we can do that might be easier is look at some sort of pedestrian crossing signage, flashing lights, so that traffic knows to stop, because I drive that every day. I mean, that's my main route, and I walk it a lot. And I'm deathly afraid to walk across that. I'm actually braver about
Well,
driving
the
it.
one thing you shouldn't do is in the dark walk across in front of the bus and not, you know, be careful.
Right, but cars
on the other
turning, I
hand,
mean, I've seen a lot of people.
We could put a pedestrian crossing there, but on one hand, I have somebody saying that the traffic flow is a problem. On the other hand, you're giving a suggestion that would impede the traffic flow. So, you know, you can't be everything to everybody. Let's have the chief come in and he can talk about the history there and what, if any, recommendations he has.
I'd like at least the recommendations to be.
I also will dig out the old the study and we'll pass it around for your edification.
There should also be one from the 80s.
Well, I don't have
from
that.
The 70s. I mean, this has been studied to death, the entire downtown.
Yeah, and there's a reason why at some point in time the governing body that sat here decided not to do anything, and things have gotten worse primarily because the number of cars coming through our town is just increasing. You know, one of the reasons we've talked about at the Transportation Committee is bus service is so poor here that people are giving up the bus commuting and taking their cars. And one of the things we could do to make things better is improve bus service. And I've been communicating with Senator Weinberg over the last 2 weeks, and Senator Weinberg and Gordon Johnson and Valerie Huddle are coming here on May the 2nd for a town meeting. I would hope that commuters take advantage of that opportunity to let them know how they feel about what New Jersey Transit is doing with bus service. Okay, we have that image that we're against mass transit because we turned down the light rail. We turned down the light rail not because we're opposed to light rail. We turned down light rail because the project as proposed would have made traffic in Tenafly much worse. And when we brought that to New Jersey Transit, they refused to acknowledge it. So that's why we turned against the project. And I have concerns that if it ever comes to Englewood, they're going to have some unintended consequences too when those gates go down on Palisade Avenue every 12 minutes during rush hour. I don't think that's taken into account.
Then we need to.
But we'll have the chief come in and I'll try and dig up that most recent traffic study for you folks.
Okay.
Thank you.
The last item, something positive, was from Mr. Colatides, who
Such a nice
wanted to thank the people in Susan's department, and I agree. You know, towards the end of the year when people were panicking and trying to prepay their taxes, you know, your department handled it extremely well, even when Councilman Bash cut in front of the line to pay his taxes.
I did not. I never did that ever.
I'm only kidding.
I never did. All right. It was Lizette who cut.
Does anybody have any question about the resolutions?
I played it.
I have something I would like to actually say, is now a good time to say it. So I would actually like to talk about the Tenafly Pride Day.
The time to fly
The
what?
Tenafly Pride Day.
Oh, we're gonna do that in the public meeting, no?
That's
Would you
fine.
rather do it now so they can go home?
Well, it is 9:30 or 8:30. They've been sitting here for a while.
So,
Okay.
we have that in the public meeting, and we'll talk about it now. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Well,
You have the floor.
I would like to welcome our guests in support of this resolution. I'm very happy to see some support here in the audience, but I am introducing the resolution to declare the last Sunday in June to be Tenafly Pride Day, to protect, support, and promote the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, and gender nonconforming, and so forth community. The current world climate, as we know, has legitimized the anti-LGBTQ sentiment, and the hate groups are rising. Previously, they've been on the fringe, and even our current administration has just declared that transgender soldiers who would stand on our front lines and protect our borders are no longer allowed. So I think it's very important for our borough and our leadership in the borough of Tenafly to reiterate its commitment as a welcoming community, an accepting community, and I seek to make this resolution to promote equality, inclusivity, respect, dignity, and civil rights for the LGBTQ community, their families, and all of our residents. This Pride Day is intended to recognize the gains that they've already made to ensure justice and to acknowledge the work that still needs to be done here and everywhere else in our country and our world. And I hope to see that our residents come out for this day. I hope it's a positive day and warm weather, no rain.
More snow.
No snow, no more snow. And so I really hope that this, can get everyone's vote today and that it passes and that we can do something to show that Tenafly is at the forefront of this issue.
Very good.
Okay. Very good, thank you. And welcome to everybody that's here to support that resolution. And we'll see you on the last Sunday of June.
If you pass it.
Huh?
If you pass it.
Well, it'll be passed, it'll be part of our consent agenda, and I don't think there's anybody here that's going to vote against it. I'm a little concerned over the timing of it, because what I know about what happens here in Tenafly on the last Sunday in June is the town empties out. A lot of the kids are going away to camp, but hopefully we'll get a nice turnout.
We can make it second to last Sunday. I'm not set on the last Sunday. I just wanted.
Well, my recommendation would be
Just
make it
the
you know what, the first Sunday of June is the 5K, but maybe you would be better off with the next to the last Sunday, whatever the date is.
I'm comfortable with that. If you think we'll get a better crowd.
I know what happens.
And the students, I'd like to have the,
You know what happens once once graduation goes. The next day, like, every kid in town is thrown out of their house and on the bus to camp.
Can we amend that to second to last
I don't
Sunday?
have to wait for next.
How many Sundays in June?
Is that like the third Sunday?
That's usually Father's Day, though. I
It
don't want to
is
bump into
Father's
Father's
No,
Day.
you don't want to do Father's Day.
I don't want,
I second that.
I just don't want to, I'm trying not to bump into graduation, Father's Day, TEF.
When is Father's Day, the second or the third
It's
Sunday?
the 17th, the
The
third.
third.
So,
Can we do a
Tuesday's the
Saturday?
second Sunday
so
in
the
May,
the 24th,
third Sunday.
when is graduation this year, do you know?
Probably the
When do you
21st,
graduate?
22nd. I know my kids are done the 21st.
Well, let's do it on the 24th is a little early, so let's do it then. Let's see keep our fingers
What
crossed.
day is that instead?
That's the Sunday.
Sunday.
That's
Sunday.
not Father's Day.
No,
That's not
you
Father's
said
Day.
Father's Day is the 17th,
Father's Day is 17th, it's the third Sunday in June.
Okay, so this is the fourth Sunday in June?
Yes.
24th.
which is the last, because June, 30 days after
Fantastic.
June. Yeah, there's no 31st of June, so don't.
Isn't that the
So
last Sunday?
that's the last Sunday.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
so
still.
no change. We're
So it's
good.
still the last Sunday.
It is, yeah, last Sunday.
But it's the 24th.
So we don't have to.
Okay,
Okay.
so thank you for everybody that showed up for that. The only other thing on the work session that I wanted to briefly talk about, keyword is briefly, is the legalization of marijuana. You have in your packet 3 particular items on that. 2 of them are from, let me see if I can find mine.
Are we bringing in speakers on this?
Well, that's the question. Now, there's 3 things in your packet. One is from the New Jersey Marijuana Retailers Association, which is great to know that they're in existence, considering the fact that they can't sell it yet. Obviously, this is a group that advocates for retailing marijuana. The second is the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association. Somehow I get a sense that they're advocates of it as well. And the third thing that I included was a blurb from our health department, the Mid-Bergen Regional Health Commission. And there's a paragraph that talks about the recreational marijuana legalization in New Jersey, and they basically are not so supportive. I'll leave it up to the council. I don't know what the point of having the New Jersey Marijuana Retailers Association or the other organization. They're going to come in and tell us that, you know, we can make money. The state will make tax dollars. I don't think they're going to talk about the impact that it has on the quality of life, other than to say, you know, it's nice to get high. How do you guys feel about it?
We put it over here. We said we're going to invite the speaker specifically to talk to us. Let's give him 5 or 10 minutes to see, and after that, we're going to have, next time, we're going to have the other speakers.
All right, so I will invite somebody from New Jersey Marijuana Retailers Association, unless you prefer that we have New Jersey Cannabis Business Association. I think both organizations will probably give a similar presentation.
Absolutely.
So, both of these groups, from what I see, is for recreational use, but I would like to hear somebody for medicinal marijuana versus medicinal recreational use marijuana. Excuse me, recreational use marijuana. And I do think there's a difference, because I'm much more...
It's a huge difference.
Thank you. Right, medicinal use is going to be through prescription.
Right, but I don't...
We want to hear that, and what kind of...
I'd rather hear that kind of story.
And I want to hear what kind of a medication, what kind of a...
People already can get that.
Well, that's going to be less of an impact. That's certainly a much less of an impact upon a municipality than legalization of recreational.
Okay.
You know,
They're going to take away my bookies.
you wouldn't be zoning if you were talking about enacting zoning regulations with respect to any prescription medicinal marijuana use. Because, you know, it would be issued through state licensed doctors.
No, but it doesn't matter. The dispensary,
Yeah, the dispensary.
you can zone where the dispensary for that is.
Well, you could, yeah, sure, you could do that, but it's less of a concern, because if you think about it, they can go anywhere and through the dispensary with a prescription and get it. But recreational, of course.
But it's
could
the
pop
same
up anywhere.
dispensary probably they're going to do both. So
The-
if we do a zoning,
I think there's going to be, well, we don't know now. There's going to be different licensing requirements
Yeah.
for dispensaries for prescription versus recreational.
yeah, but if we're going to do a zoning,
Wait, time out.
chances are we're going to do something for both.
We have to
That's
zone.
where they're going to be able to do the
How could you do it
Can-
for recreational?
hold on.
It's
Can we
not-
table
With
this?
any,
Can we table this till it hits the Senate or Assembly floor at least then?
I would
They'll have
agree
more
with
info
that.
for us.
What'd you say, Lauren?
I would agree with Dan. I think it was premature to bring
Okay,
in this.
so
Wait till this hits the Senate
we
or
will-
State Assembly floor.
We will table it for the time
When we
being.
have something to
I'll
read.
keep these
Their
contacts on
proposed
file.
yes.
Unless anybody has anything else, I'd like to entertain a motion to close the work session and take a 2-minute break. Trying to bribe you to close the work
Second.
session. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, 2-minute break. And then the first thing we're going to do is the proclamation, and we'll come back.
We're going to proclaim.
Max?
You have a cat? You gotta take-
Yes.
Good evening. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice requirements have been satisfied. The meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby in the municipal center and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Copies of all revised or additional meeting notices are sent via fax to the record, Suburbanite Northern Valley Press, and are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the municipal center. Salute to the flag, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Want to sing the national anthem?
Good job.
Next time we'll let her.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Councilmember Dayton?
Here.
Councilmember Grossman?
Present.
Councilmember Park?
Here.
Mayor West?
Here. I'll entertain a motion to approve the sets of minutes, except I hate to say this, one correction. on the minutes of March 20th, the work session where we talked about the police getting computers from Paramus Police Department. They were not new computers, they were used computers, but they were donated to us. So just correct that one word from new to used, and we should be okay. A motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Revisions to the agenda?
We have one, we're just going to add a short closed session to discuss a legal matter concerning potential claims concerning the recent accident involving the DPW roll-off vehicle.
Okay. I'll entertain, public comment. We're going to start, go around the room, starting here. If anybody has a comment they want to speak.
Christine Efron, President of the Chamber of Commerce, 39 Leroy Street. Just wanted to make clear, the Chamber of Commerce doesn't do traffic studies. We were referring to the council traffic study, and we would like the council to request from Bergen County that they waive the requirement that we widen the lanes on Clinton and Dean. Thank you.
Widen what lane?
I want them to waive it.
Oh, so
To change the traffic light.
so you want them to issue a variance so that we do not have to widen the lane?
Yes, and the council has to initiate that request.
Thank you.
Then we can put the stoplight without the,
Well,
if they grant
let's not put
Okay.
the cart before the horse.
no,
Let's-
but I wanted to understand the issue is to put a light if we can have
Well,
a
but
variance.
she admitted she's not a traffic engineer, so I don't think
Chemical
we...
engineer and traffic engineer, very same, it's the same man.
All right, anybody, any other further
I didn't know
comments?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please,
So,
just state your name.
Mike Wigan, address. I live in Two Valley Place. We came here today with no background. I just thought it would be great for me and my son Landon to view the proceedings. And I'm actually, I feel very lucky to have chosen this day because I had no idea you were doing the Pride Day resolution. I think that's great for the town. It makes me proud about our town. The way you are engaging in all these issues with robust discussion and all that also makes me proud about our town and our council. So thank you for that, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you for your kind words. Robust is one of the nicest things people have said about us.
Can I ask how old is that?
Oh, how old are you?
8/29, June 4th.
What school do you go to?
Smith.
Smith School. I was a Smith School parent once. Is that right?
I have an 8-year-old as well, so very nice. I'm in mom's school though.
Stillman rules.
Okay, close the public comment session.
Wait.
Do
sorry.
you have something you want to say? I'm sorry. I'll entertain a motion to approve the, I'm sorry?
One time, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I would just want to thank Lauren for bringing that forward, and I'm going to leave you with this guide to being a straight ally from National PFLAG, and maybe you could check it out because it's really important to the safety of kids and the reduction of suicide tendencies among disenfranchised groups. And so I think it's to be taken seriously. And I had an 18-year-old here earlier who was one of our success stories, came at 13, just getting out of a place for suicide watch from being bullied in Bergenfield. And Valerie Huddle actually was instrumental in kind of putting them in the, giving them some noise, okay? Because you
Very
can't do
nice.
much more because it's a different district. But and I just want to say it's very serious and it affects people's lives. And when people are marginalized, they live in the margin, and that's a dangerous place. We lost two 16-year-old girls to heroin overdoses in the last, and that's what people do when they make bad decisions. So I think that's what the margin does. So
Is that one copy or is that a bunch of copies?
That's one
It's
copy.
one
If you give it to the clerk, she'll
You can
she'll put
also
it on monitors.
download them for free on the National PFLAG site, and there's a whole bunch of literature. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Before I do the consent agenda, I apologize. I'd like to do two proclamations, one in particular. For those of you who don't know, Shelley is the CEO of the Community Chest. It's just the Community Chest now. It used to be the Community Chest of Englewood Cliffs, and Tenafly. But they eliminated the names because they do things beyond those borders. But they do focus on our community, and they've done a lot of good things over the years, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to have you with us. And if you like, I will read the following proclamation. Whereas the Community Chest has been serving Tenafly. I
Went that way.
Oh,
have
I'm sorry.
I have the council behind us.
Okay.
In the background.
Whereas the community chest has been serving Tenafly and all of eastern Bergen
Let me take my
County
glasses off.
for 85 years, and whereas the Tenafly residents have been among the leaders and supporters of the community chest, including serving as board president, members of the board of directors, and as executive director of the community chest, and whereas many Tenafly organizations and activities have been the beneficiaries of grants from the community chest, and whereas we have gathered together this evening to recognize the work that the community chest has done and to celebrate their 85th anniversary of their founding. Therefore, be it proclaimed that it is our pleasure to declare April 2018 as Community Chest Month in Tenafly, and to urge all of the citizens of Tenafly to join us in honoring the members of the community chest for all of the contributions they have made to Tenafly and Eastern Bergen County, and furthermore, be it proclaimed that we thank the community chest for their service to our community and wish them continued success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
No, the good job is what the community chest does for
So
all of
nice.
us.
Thank you for
Thank you,
everything.
Shelley, for taking the time.
Thank you very much.
I have another proclamation that I'm going to read, and even though I don't see any trees here, it's about Arbor Day. Whereas the last Friday of April 27th, 2018 is designated as National Arbor Day, which is a day set aside to promote the planting of trees, tree conservancy, and appreciation of our environment. And whereas the Borough of Tenafly has promoted tree conservancy and planting of trees for many years, and whereas trees in our community increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our borough, and whereas the Borough of Tenafly has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation and desires to continue its tree planting practices. Now therefore, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Tenafly do proclaim April 27th, 2018 as Arbor Day, and urge all citizens to celebrate this day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And I would like to say that it's very well and good to come up with these proclamations, but I'm proud of the council and the things that they have done in the last year. I know, led by Council President Bash, we've strengthened our tree ordinance, and those are the things that really matter. And, it's unfortunate that we continue to get these storms that tear these trees down. But we'll do our best to keep planting. That's all we can do. And to save the trees that, try and make sure that residents and businesses don't take any trees down that they don't have to take down. Because we can plant trees, but the trees we plant are small, and many of the ones that fall down or are taken down are large. So there's more to it than numbers. Thank you, as council, for what you're doing to help support our tree cityism. It's very important. Let's go to public hearings.
Consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
A second?
So moved.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Councilmember Dayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Okay, where are my public hearings?
The following ordinances published herewith were first read by title only on March 20th, 2018, and posted on the bulletin board of the lobby of the Municipal Center. Ordinance number 18-04, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank pursuant to NJSA 48:4-45.15, and ordinance number 18-05, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Section 2-47.20 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Tenafly, establishing health and eligibility requirements for the members of the Junior Firefighters Auxiliary Program.
I move to pass and adopt on second and final reading ordinance 18-04 and 1805, that notice of such name shall be published according to law.
A second, please?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Public comment?
Public comment. Please call the roll. Thank you.
Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Councilmember Dayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Committee reports.
None.
Jeff?
Couple. We have second, planning board met, and there was a lot of discussion about 14, 16, 18 Washington Street, which is proposed to be mixed use. Right now it's a one-story business with two businesses located in it. They want to add 2 floors of residential above it. And I think what's significant in the discussion that the planning board was having is that it appears that at some point the council made the determination that there's a good thing to have mixed use, to encourage people to live above the businesses, but one of the problems that we're seeing is that there's insufficient parking in some of these situations, in particular this. The proposal is for 6 apartments, 2 bedrooms each, which would require 25 parking spots, roughly 24, and they're providing 0. So that would fall to one of the municipal lots, for example,
Not take a.
lot 0, lot O.
The one in Franklin?
No, the one behind the movies. I
The
want to
one
redo
behind
that
the
one.
movies. But I think that, for one property, it's one thing, but if this is the intent of the council to have mixed use, it is something that's gonna have to be looked at if more people apply for this, and they all really have no way they can provide parking, especially on the south side of that street. North side might be a little easier, but south side definitely not.
But they would park overnight in the public parking lot?
Well,
That's not.
Well, this was,
I think at some point
They're
in
not taking over
time,
my lot.
at some point in time, we at this table will have a discussion on this.
Yeah.
They'll be having a joint meeting of the planning board and the zoning board in the near future. And out of that are going to come some ideas that I think we need to discuss at the council table. But at this point, very interesting application, and what kept getting thrown at the planning board is, well, you want mixed use downtown, which we do. Well, this is mixed use. Unfortunately, this application seems to have a series of flaws about it, primarily density, and as a result, even though I think we all support mixed use downtown, this may not be the way we want to go about it. So, very interesting application.
the other report I have, the Access for All met, and they actually have a Facebook with resources that are available for people who have different disabilities, and they are in the process of updating that, so that should be a good thing. They also are going to be awarding every 2 months plaques for doing good job regarding providing access, and that will be provided to different businesses or places that have gone above and beyond.
Who's they?
The Access for All are providing.
That's an
plaques.
organization.
That's a committee.
Committee.
And apparently they've done this in the past, so it's going to be something they're going to continue. Also, I raised the issue with them about the applications for outside seating, and that complies with law, but to make them aware and that they'll want to just take a look when those restaurants do put outdoor seating to make sure that there is sufficient access. The final report, Tenafly Presents, we met the other day to discuss summer concerts, and they are going to be awesome this year.
I hope so.
And we're introducing a Tenafly-based group this year, which should
I'm
be...
very excited about. They're great.
Well, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad we have a positive second opinion.
I've heard that they're wonderful. and
Good. Well, maybe we'll see you down at the concerts then.
And they're big enough...
I won't get yelled at this time.
Other than campaigning, you come down and enjoy yourself.
Right.
They're big enough if they bring their family and friends, Highland Park will be filled. They're a
Yeah.
good-sized group. All
Okay,
right,
thank you,
those
Joe.
are my reports.
Do you have anything, Dan?
Earth Day, Northern Valley Earth Fair, which we are a part of through a joint Green Team committees and other environmental commissions. It's April 21st, Saturday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Northern Valley Regional High School in Demarest.
Can you email it to us?
Yeah, sure.
Is that it?
Yep.
I would mention, I know Carol Hodges, who is in charge of the community garden, and I met with Carl Rossi of DPW. They're looking to, the community garden was so successful, they're looking really to expand it. And of course, that would require some assistance from the DPW, and Carl has suggested that he will help them out. So I'm hoping...
that's coming up soon because I think Carl's busy with snow.
Right.
I think
well,
there's supposed to be another storm coming.
Snow interfered with a lot of things
Yep.
yesterday. Lauren, do you have anything?
The joint use met, and the mayor and Dan were with me as well, so they can help. They are proposing, the first thing that was asked was, of course, the polling places, and so Bruno just sent the mayor included us on correspondence about getting the polling places out of our schools. Lizette had been in the meeting and explained to them very well. We had applied to our county, and we were denied for some of the areas in which we don't have an alternative polling place. And so at the moment, we still have polling places in school. The second thing I'm supposed to announce is April 16th, there is a meeting on their budget, if anyone would like to attend that. And the third, of course, is the Safety Task Committee, which I think I'm gonna let Jeff speak to more, but it was raised at our joint use meeting about the possibility of Class 3 security officers in the school and whether we'd want that. The second thing that was raised as part of that is whether we'd want a referendum on armed officers in the school, and the mayor brought that up, and I'll let you speak about that.
Well, first I wanted to talk about the polling places. Going back not that many years ago, polling was done in every school. That's where the polling places were, with the exception of there was some polling places here at Borough Hall. We were able to get them out of every school with the exception of McKay and the middle school. And Stillman.
No, Stillman's not
Smith,
Stillman.
is it
No,
Smith?
just McKay in the middle school. As much as the parents want them out of those schools, and I can appreciate that, the positive part of it is at least at McKay you can segregate the gym from the rest of the school, and the middle school the same place. We're really struggling to find an acceptable alternative to those two sites. What was brought to our attention was a article about Closter. I'm not convinced that article said that this was going to happen. What it said was these sites were proposed, and some people that came to visit them thought they were good sites. I would be very pleasantly surprised if they are approved, and if they are approved, I'm going to plan on speaking with the mayor of Closter anyway to find out exactly where those places are in relationship to those districts, and to find out, if perhaps the thinking of the county board of elections has shifted a little bit due to what's happening in schools today and the growing sentiment to make our schools safer. If that's the case, maybe we'll have more luck the next time we approach them. Well, yes, Dan.
Bill, can we add quick closed session update, SRO
Sure.
update?
Well, I'm sure, want to add that to
Yeah.
closed session? Okay.
Should discuss that here.
Okay, and what was the last thing that you asked? I'm sorry.
The Class 3 security officers.
No,
The
you-
referendum.
The referendum, yeah. I believe for two reasons. One is that to put an armed person in our schools is a very big change in culture. I'm not saying it's not necessary or I don't support it, but it is a large change to which a significant amount of people oppose. The second is it will be a very large cost, regardless of whether the school pays for it or the borough pays for it or any combination thereof. Therefore, I would recommend that before the school board or the mayor and council or the combination of the two take that large step of doing it, then I think it's worthy of a referendum in November. But that's just my opinion.
It's worthy of a referendum?
Yes, I think we should go out rather than do that on our own. I think we should let the people decide whether or not that's what they want in our community. I know a large segment of the school parents want it, but the school parents make up only a part of this town. I think everybody in the town should have an opportunity to voice their opinion on it. But I'm just one person. But that's what I projected at the joint use meeting. I know I for one would support whatever the majority of the people would want. Max?
I just want to say, from cultural, philosophical, and any other reason, I do not support guns in school. I think the guns in school is the first step towards a military atmosphere in the school rather than a learning
Well,
atmosphere. So
I think we'll hold off until that discussion for the time being, because
I cannot express
no,
my opinion.
I understand, but everybody, this is one of those things that I think almost everybody has a very strong opinion.
Yeah, no,
one way or the other.
absolutely. And I just wanted to express my opinion
Okay.
that I'm not for
Jeff?
Since Lauren did raise it, the community safety
force?
task force has been meeting as 3 separate committees, and I should have put that as my other names. Basically, the one committee is focused more on actions that can be taken in the school over a period of time, and that would include consideration of police in the school or other options. A second committee is dealing with social media, because really it's incumbent upon the students are the first line defense. We always see the Port Authority saying, if you see it, say something. Really, that's the message that came across from this whole discussion, is that if somebody sees a posting, don't take it lightly. And they have been very vigilant. The students have been great. There was actually a report apparently of somebody who had posted a picture with a totally fake gun, but they still reported it so it could be investigated. The third committee, and that's the one that I'm involved with, and we just met, is dealing with potential legislation. And of course, there's federal and state preemption, so our hands are very tied what we can consider. But there are some things that we're talking about, and at the appropriate time we'll float those and other ideas with the task force and then with the council.
I think it's worthy of noting that the next meeting of the task force will be on Thursday, April the 19th at 7:30 at the high school. And I think some of the recommendations will be put on the table then and discussed. And I urge all residents, whether they be school parents or not, to consider attending or at least watching it on Channel 77. If that concludes,
I have one more, sorry, committee update. The teen center?
I'm sorry?
The teen center
Okay.
committee update. We would like to know the status of the construction and the engineering for the kitchen and the floor, and what has been worked out for that.
Well, it's part of the bond ordinance, so they can't do anything.
They can't do anything.
Until after the stop-up period, until funds are available.
Has the engineer or anyone else gone through, or do we need the engineer there? But the floor.
No, he just needs to bring in Carl and Joe Lawson.
Okay, can we follow up with them? Okay.
okay.
Nothing else met yet.
Well, the cabinets, they're not gonna be resurfaced, they're gonna be
New.
replaced.
New.
Yeah, you know that.
Good.
Yeah.
Who needs it? Oh,
I didn't see the email tonight.
okay.
Let's go to new business.
We need to stop.
Dan, you want to make the first motion? The motion? Thank you very much.
It wasn't ready. I move to introduce and pass on first reading ordinance 1806 and 1807, and set the hearing for April 17th, 2018 at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter in the Tenafly Municipal Center.
Second.
Second?
Ordinance number 18-06, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements by the Borough of Tenafly, appropriating the aggregate amount of $2,674,615, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,547,000 in bonds or notes of the Borough to finance part of the cost thereof. Ordinance number 18-07, ordinance reappropriating $475,000 proceeds of obligations not needed for their original purposes in order to provide for other purposes in and by the Borough of Tenafly. Councilmember Bash?
Yes.
Councilmember Dean?
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman?
Yes.
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor has no further remarks for tonight. Would you
Closed
read the
session.
closed session, please?